the class, in the last we ended up with digestion of protein, right? Uh, so digestion of fat. So is there any question, any doubt regarding the last class? Any doubt? If you have any doubt, please ask me. This is very important, and I have made this diagram, and which is a good one. Right? It is easy to understand and easy to learn. Right? Look. So here we have to talk about the which component or which part is absorbed at what place, right? The site of absorption of nutrient drugs into gastrointestinal tract, right? Look, in stomach part, water, alcohol, some monosaccharide, some drugs, and salts, they are absorbed, right? Now from stomach to till this point, this is the small intestine. So stomach do not absorb anything, right? But alcohol is the highly absorbable substance for human body. Monosaccharide means when we take the glucose, that glucose we mix with the water and we drink it. So that simplest sugar, they get absorbed at the stomach. And some drugs. That's why alcohol, drugs, and glucose, they all work very fast pace because they need not to reach to the small intestine for uh, let them to absorb, right? So they are absorbed by stomach only. By the way, stomach is not the site for the absorption. The stomach is the site for the partial digestion, and complete digestion takes place in small intestine. The small intestine is further divided in three parts: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. Duodenum, iron, calcium, and amino acids are absorbed here. Jejunum, monosaccharides, amino acids, fatty acids, vitamins, and water is absorbed here. Ileum, vitamin B12, and bile salt and water, it is absorbed over here. Now from here onward, this is a large intestine. So most of the nutrient are digested and absorbed at the small intestine itself. Large intestine is a not site for the digestion, but some minerals and salt and drugs, vitamins produced by bacteria, they are absorbed over here. And large amount of the water is absorbed over here, right? So it is site of absorption. So this is the sequence of the absorption of different substances, right? And you have to learn it, right? Now come to the next. Hope it's easy. And this is a sort of factual thing. So nothing to understand over here. There is a disease that is called PEM, protein energy malnutrition. So basically, the poor people who are unable to arrange good food or sufficient amount of the food, this disease or defect, we can say, it is caused due to the nutrition. So generally, it takes place in the 0 to 6 year child, and due to deficiency of the protein, the children are skinny and they are very thin and malnutrition. So it's a disease of malnutrition. That is called PEM. So you have to remember the age group, which and what is the reason behind it. That is the deficiency of the protein, in diet. So because of deficiency of protein in diet, the malnutrition takes place in the children age group 0 to 6 years. Night blindness or xerophthalmia. That disease is caused due to deficiency of vitamin E. Anemia causes due to deficiency of iron. Goiter, we will discuss. Goiter, that is the swelling of this neck part. So when what happened? This is the thyroxine. This is the thyroid gland. So when iodine deficiency takes place, thyroxine production stops, and this gland gets swelled, right? And this disease is called goiter. So goiter basically takes place due to deficiency of iodine. Kwashiorkor. Kwashiorkor is a disease which takes place in the children 1 to 5 years. The children have thin limb, retarded growth, right? So very skeletal kind of the body, very thin hand and legs, and their growth is retarded or stunned. Then merismus. Merismus takes place. The children which are the below 1 year age, they have thin limb and prominent ribs, right? So their limbs are thin and ribs are prominent, right? So merismus, both are the malnutrition, both are the disease for the malnutrition. But Kwashiorkor is for the child between 1 to 5, and merismus for the child between less than 1 year old, right?
Sir, could you please show the previous slide?
Yeah, sure.
The one.
Do you want me to
Sir, the one before this.
before this one? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, welcome. If you don't have the link of this one, right, drop a message to our coordinator that provide me the link for the human physiology, right? They will provide you, right? They will provide you. You can access these PPT through that link, right? Okay, so that's it for the digestion and digestive system. Go through with your NCRT in case if you have any doubt regarding that, then please let me know. Then we will start with the next chapter, next part of the human physiology part. And I think that is the that should be respiration. So the next chapter is human respiratory system or human respiration, right? So let's start with the human respiration part. Fine. Look. This is a human respiration part. So a respiratory organ. Come to the first respiratory organ. So this is called windpipe. Windpipe or trachea is made up of cartilage rings, right? And they are incomplete link, right? Cartilage is a flexible bone. Like our nose is made up of cartilage, ear are made up of cartilage. Then this windpipe or trachea is divided into two parts: left and right bronchus. This left and right bronchus further divide into bronchi, right? And further they divide into bronchioles, right? Bronchioles. And the whole this part is covered by the ribs. Finally, the bronchioles are connected with the a small balloon-like structure. They are called alveoli, right? They help in exchange of the gases. Look, the upper part is known as thoracic cavity, and this is muscular structure, and lower part is known as abdominal cavity. So thoracic cavity and abdominal cavity. So thoracic cavity is that which is meant for the respiration, and abdominal cavity is that which is meant for the digestion. Again, the diagram of the lungs. So this is the left lungs, this is the right lung, and left lung is divided into two parts, right? It is further subdivided into two parts. So it is covered by the outer, that is important. This is covered by a layer, and name of this layer is a pleura. Try to understand me. This is covered by a layer, and name of this layer is pleura. Pleura is protective membrane, and pleura is made up of tissues, and the protective covering of every organ. Try to understand, the protective covering of any organ or body is made up of epithelial, right? So obviously this is made up of epithelial tissue, right? Epithelial tissue, right? Then inside the pleura there is a fluid called pleural fluid, right? And then this is the lungs, right? And the right lungs is divided into three parts. It is made up of three lobes, right? And left lung is made up of two lobes. There is a muscular structure called diaphragm, okay? And between right and left lungs there is a space that is called cardiac notch, right? It's called cardiac notch. And our heart remains fit over here in cardiac, okay? So, this is important for you. It is not in there in your NCRT, but it's very important for you. Means the animals and the respiratory organ which belongs to those animals. So animal group, the first group is protozoa. Protozoa, we know eukaryotic unicellular organism like amoeba, paramecium, and all that. What is the respiratory organ there? So they respire through the plasma membrane, or around their body there is a membrane called pellicle. Pellicle is protein membrane. It's a stretchable membrane, right? So protozoa, uh, their body is surrounded by the plasma membrane or pellicle. Then the next one is the sponges, right? In the sponges, the respiration takes place through plasma membrane. Then it comes to the cnidarian. In cnidarians, the respiration takes place through the body wall, right? Then come to the ctenophora. Ctenophora, the respiration takes place through the body wall, right? And if you have any doubt on the any phylum, then you can raise your hand, right? Cnidarians through body walls. So what are the cnidarians? They have the cnidoblast cell. Example, Hydra, right? When we talk about the cnidarians, it means we are talking about the Hydra and all that, right? So Hydra is representative, right? Then ctenophora, the example is pleurobronchia, right? So in ctenophora, the respiration takes place through body wall. Platyhelminthes mean tapeworms and all that, right? So in even platyhelminthes, the respiration takes place through the body wall, right? But tapeworm and liver fluke both are the representative organism of the platyhelminthes. They perform anaerobic respiration, right? They perform anaerobic respiration. Clear? Then annelids. In annelids, respiration takes place through the body wall and gills, right? Arthropoda. In arthropoda, it is a part of insect. The respiration takes place through, right, gills in the prawn, right? So prawn are known as the prawn fish. Some of us call prawn fish, but basically, in arthropoda, prawns are not a fish. Actually, prawns are a type of insect. So in prawns, the respiration takes place through the gills. In insect, when we talk about the insect, common insects like we are talking about the cockroach. So in cockroach, insect like cockroach. So respiration takes place through the trachea. What is the trachea? Trachea are basically a hollow pipeline that is found across the body of the insect like cockroach and all that, right? So respiration takes place through this pipeline, and this is called trachea. Then book lungs. So book lung and trachea are very important. They are very, very important for your medical examination, right? Book lung have been asked many times. So trachea and book lungs are found in scorpion and spider. Why they are called the book lungs? I have just shown with the help of diagram. They look, this organ, this respiratory organ, look like a open book, like this way, right? Then in mites, respiration is cutaneous, right? In molluscans, the respiration takes place through gills and pulmonary sac. In echinodermata, respiration takes place through tube feet and water canal system. In chordata, the respiration takes place through the in chordata, the respiration fishes takes place through the gills. Amphibian, skin and lungs. Reptile, birds and mammals take place through skin and lungs. Go through with it and ask me if you have any doubt. But this is important, respiratory organ. Sometimes they will ask you question, either a question like match the following. Most time they will ask the question like match the following. One side there will be the organism, second side there will be respiratory organ, or exclusively they can ask you.
Yeah, how does it the respiratory with book lungs? Can you explain that?
Book lungs.
Yes, sir.
Book lungs are look, this is the organism, and organism, or this is the organism. That's an organism, and organism have an opening. So at the opening there are these membrane like structures, right? And look, they appears like an open book. Yes, so these are called book lungs. So when they roam here and there, when air come in contact with them, exchange of gases takes place. So these structure are called book lungs.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. Anyone else? What are the pulmonary sac? Pulmonary sac are basically, they are just like lungs. Tube feet. Look, I have shown this structure. Tube feet. So starfish. This is called tube feet or water canal system. In a starfish, there is this kind of the pipeline, this green color pipeline, right? So this is called tube feet. Starfish use it for the locomotion. It use it for the respiration, right? So these were some of the respiratory organ you have to remember. Not cram. You have to just remember. Human lungs we have already discussed. Once more, I want to tell you some more important thing in detail. Don't underestimate this diagram. I have seen at least thrice or four times the question from this, only this diagram. What was the question? The question was that which of the following is a respiratory organ? And which of the following is not conducting part? So what is the difference between the conducting part and respiratory? Look, conducting part is helpful only the uh, transport of the gas, right? So the gas is supplied through those pipelines. Those pipelines, they are called conducting pipes, right? They are not called respiratory pipes or respiratory organs. The respiratory organs are those where the exchange of gases takes place. They are called respiratory organs, right? So look, this is the main pipeline which is called trachea. Trachea is further divided into two parts. That is called pulmonary, that is called bronchus, right? So right bronchus, left bronchus. Again, the bronchus further divided into secondary bronchus. Secondary bronchus divided into tertiary bronchi. Tertiary bronchi divided into bronchioles, terminal bronchioles. Bronchioles finally divided into terminal bronchioles, right? From bronchioles onward, right? Right, understand? From bronchioles onward, exchange of the gases takes place. Before the bronchiole, this is just pipe here, the exchange of gas do not take place. Then terminal bronchiole, respiratory bronchioles, and alveolar sac. They are the meant for the respiration, means they are the structure which are meant for the exchange of the gases, right? So you have to remember which of the following is conducting part, which of the following is respiratory. Respiratory part means that is exchange of the gases takes place here. Got it? Clear? Okay. Now come to the, now I want your focus over here. Pleura, I have discussed that pleura is a membrane, which is protective membrane found around your lungs, is protect lungs from the frictions and all that, right? Pleura may be of two types, outer pleura and inner pleura. Outer pleura is called palatal pleura or inner pleura is called visceral pleura. Between these two pleura, there is a fluid called that is called a pleural fluid, right? Try to understand. This is pharynx. This pipeline is called trachea. Trachea is also known as the windpipe. It is made up of a transparent cartilage called hyaline cartilage. Right? Transparent cartilage that is called hyaline cartilage. Now, above the trachea, there is a structure which help us to speak. This is important. From here, you will get the question. And even the question have been asked, already asked. So this part is called larynx. Larynx is a sound box which help us to speak. Larynx, the same kind of the structure is found in the birds, right? So what is the name of the sound box of the bird? Like parrot can copy the human because they have same kind of the sound box. So what is the name of the sound box of birds? You are taking too much time. It means you are not focused on the screen completely. The answer is written over here. Look, this is written on the screen. Nobody is focused, 100% focused. Look, the sound box of bird is known as syrinx, right? So human have larynx and the birds have syrinx, right? Larynx is made up of two pair of membrane, upper and lower membrane. Upper membrane, so two pair of membrane. So upper pair is known as the false vocal cord and lower pair is known as the true vocal cord. Is that clear? Now, why there is a difference in the sound of male and female? The males have louder sound and the females have shrilling sound. Why there is a difference? Actually, the vocal cords, so upper and lower vocal cord. Upper vocal cord, that is called false vocal cord. Lower vocal cord is called true vocal cord, right? And the vocal cords are thicker and larger in men. That's why the sound of men is loud. Vocal cords are thin and small in women. That's why the sound is thrilling in the women, right? Is that clear? One more
Yes, sir.
very important thing. Again, try to understand. If you want me to dictate you something, then please raise your hand or ask me. I'll make you understand, right? Okay. Yes, Alia have answered. That is a science. Very good. Okay. So look, the sound. I'm sorry. This trachea or windpipe. The inner part of trachea is made up of ciliary epithelium. They have some cilia. What is the function of cilia? Basically, when we breathe in or respire, when the dust particle goes inside our nose or windpipe, what happens? These cilia start moving and they throw those dust particle outside, right? So these cilia help us to, or they do not allow entry of any dust particle, carbon particle, or any kind of the particle inside the lungs, right? That is their function. And there are some more cells, they are called mucus cells. Mucus cells secrete mucus, that is a gel-like substance, and it keeps the windpipe moist, and they trap the harmful substances, right? Uh, these cilia dies in a smoker, right? That's why, and if they die, they will never regenerate. Once these cilia die, they will never regenerate. That's why the smokers are more prone for the lungs diseases because due to smoking, these cilia die, right? So this is all about the respiratory system. Go through with it and let me know. Sound vocal cord, that should be clear to you. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you ask me that, tell me one most important thing which comes every year, I will say these are the respiratory volume. I have not seen more questions like I have not seen that frequent question from any part. There is a surety, believe on me, there is a surety you will get question from this one, right? I have seen this is the most frequently asked part in human physiology. I'm not talking about this chapter only. This is the most frequently asked part from the human physiology. Like almost every year, I see the question from this part: pulmonary or respiratory or pulmonary volume, right? So there are fair enough chances that you get, but there are 90% of chances that if the question come from the human respiration, you will get question from here, right? So there are just first 5 respiratory volume, and you have to cram all those. So what is the tidal volume? That is called TB, tidal volume, right? It's not TB, tuberculosis. No, no, no. It's a TB, tidal volume. What is a TB? We are just interacting, and I'm teaching you. You are listening whatever I'm saying. So we both are respiring simultaneously. So when I take air inside, not oxygen, because we take air, we do not take oxygen. So when we take air inside, and then when this air come outside, so every time just 500 ml volume of the air is goes inside, and that amount is come out. So when the amount of air expired during normal breathing, that is called the tidal volume. So when I breathe in, I take 500 ml of air inside. When I breathe out, I take out, like I breathe out, I take it is 500 ml of the air which comes out. So that is called tidal volume. A person breathe in and breathe out 6,000 ml to 18,000 ml air per minute, right? So TB is 500 ml. Clear? Then inspiratory reserve volume, right? What is the IRV? Inspiratory reserve volume. Look, I just respired. So when I normal respire, I take 500 ml. I have taken for that 500 ml. Now, how much extra air that I can take inside? That is called IRV, inspiratory reserve volume. I have just inspired 500 ml TB, right, in normal respiration. Then if we put pressure, like how much more air I can take in, that is called IRV, inspiratory reserve volume. So that maybe after taking 500 ml, I can take 2,500 ml to 3,000 ml more air inside my lungs forcefully, right? Not normally, forcefully. That is called IRV. ERV, I have just expired 500 ml tidal volume. 500 ml air come out from my lungs. So after this 500 ml, how much more can I expire out? Like how much more of air I can expire out? So that amount which forcefully expired after normal expiration, that is called expiratory reserve volume, and that is 1,000 to 1,100 ml. Additional amount of the air a person can expire forcefully is called ERV, right? Then residual volume, RV. So the amount of volume which cannot be taken out of the lungs at any cost, whatever the reason may be, right? That amount of the air will always be inside the lungs, and because if that amount of the air will come out, their lungs will get stuck, right? And the person will die. So this amount cannot be taken out. So this is called residual volume that will always remain inside the lungs. And 1,100 ml to 1,200 ml of air always remains inside the lungs. And this amount which remain inside the lungs even after forceful expiration. This is called residual volume or RV. Tell me, is that clear or not? And if
Clear,
you
sir.
have ask. Heather, got it? Iram? Sania?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anna? Abhinav?
Yes,
Alia?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Great, great. This is very, very important. Revise it 4 or 5 times. You may forget it. Now, lungs capacity. These are not that much important, but still they are the important. But those 4 are very important. Those were the volume of air, right? These are the capacity of lungs, right? Both are different. Now, what is inspiratory capacity? Means the capacity which can be inside, like which lungs can take air inside. So, inspiratory capacity, IC is tidal volume, that 500 ml we take inside, and inspiratory reserve volume, that more than 500 which take inside, right? So that is tidal volume was 500 ml and IRV inspiratory. So IC is equal to TV plus IRV. So TV tidal volume was 500 ml, which we take inside due to the normal respiration, and extra which can take forcefully, that was 2500 to 3000. So IC can be 3000 to 3500. I think you might be getting it now. Expiratory capacity means the capacity of the lungs to throw out air into environment or atmosphere. So the same thing, the 500 ml we take out and the forcefully which we take out. So that is TV plus ERV. TV is 500 ml and ERV is 1000 to 1100 ml. So expiratory reserve volume can be 1500 ml to 1600 ml. Then functional residual capacity, FRC. So the amount of air which function inside, functional part here, that is called FRC. So that's a residual volume which cannot be taken out of the lungs, plus expiratory reserve volume which can be taken out forcefully only. So FRC is RV plus ERV. Residual volume is 1100 to 1200, and the same ERV is 1000 to 1100, right? So that is the FRC, functional residual capacity. Vital capacity, VC. Look, what is vital capacity of VC? Vital capacity is total lung capacity minus residual capacity. Means the total capacity of the lungs, that is the 3400 ml to 4800 ml, right? So total lung capacity, whatever the total capacity is, minus residual volume, means 1100 to 1000 RV. So that is vital capacity. So 3400 ml volume to 4800 ml volume is the air which can be taken inside or which can be kept inside the lungs. And this vital capacity depend on the age, sex, and volume of the lungs, right? Like if the age will be less, then more vital capacity. Males have larger vital capacity, and the volume, that depends on the, if athlete have more volume of the lungs in comparison to the normal person, right? TLC, total lungs capacity, that is the vital capacity plus residual RV. So these are the lungs capacity. Go through with it and ask me if you have doubt, if you want any explanation.
So what is lecithin?
Explain FRC. Yes, I will. Yes. Okay, Arpit. And someone else is also asking. Smarita, are you there? Asking something?
You wrote lecithin. What is?
Okay, lecithin, I'll tell you. Go listen, I'll tell you. Look, before someone asked me what is the FRC. Look, FRC is the functional residual capacity. Means the amount of the air which remains inside the lungs, and this is the functional part which help in exchange of the gases, right? So that is the residual volume which always remains inside, and expiratory reserve volume, that extra volume which we take inside, that is the only functional part. So this is called FRC, right? This residual volume 1100 and the more extra which we take inside, that's called FRC, functional residual capacity, Now, the next question: what is the lecithin? Actually, before telling this one, tell me, when a baby take birth, what doctor do? You must have seen the TVs, movies, videos, some medical videos. Doctor hold the baby upside down, hang it with the help of, and from the another hand they pat it at the back, right? And they pat it the baby until it cry. If the baby is crying, then they don't pat it. If suppose that a baby have taken the birth and it is not crying, then what they will do, they will hold the leg upside down, hang it like from one hand, and from another hand, nurse or doctor will start patting, like start beating, until the baby start crying. So why, if the baby is crying, that it is considered good? Why a baby should cry after the birth? Tell me. If not crying, then there is a problem. If crying, then it's okay. That's good. Even you must have listened that notion. Who is going to tell me? Come on, it's very practical question.
Because for the first time, air rushes into the lungs.
Right? Very. Because when the baby is inside its mother, it is exchanging the gases with the help of placenta or its body wall. With the help of placenta, it is taking breathing in. Right? Their lungs alveoli are not open. If the baby will take birth and if it will cry, then it will breathe in and the lungs and alveoli will swell and open. Right? Even sometime the baby cry, but it is unable to breathe in. The reason behind it, inside alveoli are the balloon-like structure. Inside the alveoli, there is a layer lecithin. Lecithin is a membrane. This is found inside the alveoli of a baby. It have a surface tension and it helps the swelling of the alveoli. If sometime it happen that this lecithin layer is not found in the alveoli of the baby, those baby do not respire normally and even sometime they die, right? So lecithin is a type of layer. It's made of epithelium. It's a membrane. It should be there inside the alveoli for swelling the for making the alveoli to swell or to produce surface tension inside there, right? So that is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Any more question? Lecithin is important. Actually, I have written over here once this question have been asked in AIMS examination. Nowadays, AIMS have been fused within the NEET, but this question, lecithin question, I have seen in the AIMS. That's why I have written extra. It is not there in NCERT. And the diagram, which is this diagram, is of lecithin only. Anyone else? Any more question? So I request you all to please go through with the lungs capacity and lungs volume. Basically, lungs volumes are very important. They are most frequently asked. Yes, someone, is there someone who's asking any question? No doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So go ahead. A step of respiration. Very theoretical kind of part. So there are 5 steps of the respiration. In first step, expiration and inspiration, that is called breathing. We take in air and take out the air. Diffusion of O2 and CO2 across the membrane. Then diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place between the membrane and the blood. Then transport of the gases. Gases are exchanged between the membrane of alveoli and blood. Now these gases are being transported through the blood. Means the oxygen is carried away and the carbon is carried in. Carbon dioxide is carried in. Then diffusion of O2 and CO2 between blood and tissue. Blood will reach to the tissue. Then exchange will take place between blood and the tissue. And finally, this O2 is utilized in the Krebs cycle. We have seen that. So these are the steps of respiration. Now, mechanism of respiration. What is the mechanism of respiration? Look, how we breathe in and breathe out. This is the diagram of our lungs. Try to understand what I am explaining. This is the diagram of lungs. This is the diagram of ribs. It's top view from the rib. Right? There are certain muscles which remains attached with the ribs. The muscles which are found inside the ribs, these are called internal intercostal muscle, right? And the muscles which are found outside of the ribs, they are called external intercostal muscle, right? When internal intercostal muscles will contract, then external have to relax. When external will contract, internal have to relax, right? So there are two, external and internal intercostal muscles, right? During inhalation, when we breathe in, internal intercostal muscle relax, right? So what happened? Internal intercostal muscle relax and external intercostal muscle contract. So when external will contract and internal will relax, what will happen? The rib cage will move upward and outside. When rib cage will move upward and outside, what will happen? Again, so what will happen? The volume will increase. Now the diaphragm will, this is the diaphragm muscular structure, convex structure. Diaphragm contract and flatten. Diaphragm come downward. Because of this, the lungs volume or thoracic capacity increases. When thoracic capacity increases, the pressure inside alveoli decreases and air moves in. That's how we breathe in. Tell me, is it clear or not? Go through with it. Simple. Is that clear? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Go through with this video. It will make you more clear. Look, how does we breathe in and breathe out? Look, this lower structure is diaphragm. This is just diaphragm. When, like, look, this, when we breathe in, like, what happened? External, these are the intercostal muscle, and intercostal muscles come outside. Diaphragm flatten. Then we breathe in. Look, that's how we breathe in. Look, the ribs are, when the ribs are coming out and upward, we breathe in. When ribs are going down and downward, we breathe out. And the diaphragm is also low. So this is the basically the mechanism of respiration. Now, how we exhalation, how we breathe out, exhalation takes place. Again, internal intercostal muscle contract. So internal intercostal muscle contract. External, then obviously external will relax. Rib cage move downward and inward. Diaphragm relax and move, it become convex, right? Volume of thoracic cavity decreases, and the pressure in alveoli increases, and then air moves out, right? That's how exhalation takes place, or we breathe out. What is the respiratory quotient? RQ, we have already understood that RQ is equal to volume of O2 and volume of CO2 evolved and volume of O2 absorbed. We have already discussed in the respiration plant respiration part. So I told on that time that you have to remember the RQ of value. So RQ value of protein and fat have already been asked in examination. So RQ for the glucose is 1, RQ for the fat is 0.7, the RQ for protein is 0.9, and RQ for the organic acid 1.3 to 1.4. If the RQ is high, then that respiratory substrate is good. For low RQ, respiratory substrate is bad. Exchange of gases between alveoli and blood. How does the exchange of gases takes place between alveoli and the blood? Now, conceptual things start from here. Look, this is the real picture. This upper one. This is basically the real picture, actual picture. This one. So here you can see these are the alveoli. Around the alveoli, there is a network of blood vessels. These are the capillary of veins and artery. They cover around the alveoli, and with the help of them, exchange of gases takes place. This is the schematic diagram. Try to understand from here. Here, what happened when any blood vessel comes with the impure blood and take away the good blood? What happened? It releases the carbon dioxide and exchange it taken the oxygen, right? And then blood goes away. That's how the purification of blood takes place. Now I have enlarged and tried to explain you in the better way. Look. This is the alveoli part, this is the alveoli part, and this is the blood capillary. Blood capillary and alveoli, they are not direct in the, or any blood capillary never remains direct in contact with any tissue. So between the blood capillary and alveoli, there is an interstitial space. There is a space. That space remains filled with the lymph. That is called middleman. Lymph is a yellow color liquid. That is called middleman. Transport or exchange of any substance in the body takes place through the lymph only. So this is the alveoli. This is the so outermost layer of alveoli is called basement membrane. Then there is a epithelial layer, and inside there is a surfactant fluid, right? Again, this the outer structure is called basement membrane, and this is called endothelial layer of blood capillary, and it is made up of epithelium. There is no surfactant. Now, what happened? Why this blood capillary gives the carbon dioxide and take oxygen in action? Actually, when RBC or blood reaches to the blood capillary, which are around this alveoli, what happened? The pressure of carbon dioxide or the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is 45 mmHg in blood, and partial pressure of carbon dioxide inside alveoli is 40 mmHg. We know that exchange of gases takes place, or movement of gases, diffusion of gases takes place from higher to the lower uh, pressure, right? So carbon dioxide, it diffuses out from the blood to the alveoli. An exchange oxygen comes out. Why? Because the partial pressure of oxygen inside the alveoli is 0.4 mmHg, and in the RBC it is 95 mmHg. So diffusion of oxygen takes place from alveoli to this blood vessels, right? So that's how the exchange of gases takes place. Tell me, is it clear or not? Why the diffusion of gases takes place? Because of the partial pressure. Go through with it and let me know. Clear or not? You have to just remember the partial pressure. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, transport of oxygen. Basically, transport of carbon dioxide is more important, while transportation of oxygen is very simple. How the oxygen is transported from alveoli to the tissues. Actually, solubility of oxygen is less than in comparison to carbon dioxide. Very important fact. Only 3% of oxygen get dissolved with the blood plasma. 3%. The rest of the 97% goes through the hemoglobin and reaches to the tissue. Hemoglobin is a type of the compound that is made up of two things. Iron group, that is called heme, right? Iron group or heme group, and a globulin protein. Globulin is a complex protein. Right? Globulin is complex protein, and heme group is iron group, right? So this is important. Hemoglobin is 97% part of the oxygen is transported through it. Hemoglobin makes bond with the oxygen, and it makes HbO2, oxyhemoglobin, right? And when it reaches to the tissue, oxyhemoglobin again dissociate into hemoglobin and oxygen, right? Very, very important thing, the factual thing which you need to note down, and this is the question, right? I have seen the question from this concept. Actually, 15 gram of the hemoglobin is found in 15 gram of the hemoglobin is found in 100 ml blood. 1 gram of hemoglobin can carry 1.34 ml of oxygen. So 100 ml of blood or 15 gram of the hemoglobin can carry 19.4 milliliter of oxygen, right? So that is the a statical part. You have to remember that. Let me ask you a question. What is the capacity, like a hemoglobin molecule can carry how many oxygen molecules?
4,
Very good. How many atoms?
8,
Right. So you have to take care of the question that if either it is asking atom or sometimes they ask atom, sometimes they ask the molecules. Very good. So if the question is easy, then you must be conscious. Very good. Okay. Transport of CO2. It is more important. And you have to focus over here. I want your 100% focus over here. You have to remember the chloride shift, Hamburger effect, all are important. The questions have been asked from Hamburger effect and the chloride shift also. So transport of carbon dioxide. How the carbon dioxide is transported from the tissues to the alveoli. 7% of CO2 dissolved with the plasma. Oxygen only dissolved 3%, but carbon dioxide 7%. Why? Because I have already told you that the solubility of carbon dioxide is more in comparison to oxygen. And here I have written the sequence of solubility. So most soluble is CO2, then O2, then nitrogen. Nitrogen is least soluble with the blood. So 7% of CO2 is transported in dissolved with the plasma. 70% of CO2 is transported in the form of bicarbonate, HCO3 minus. And 33% CO2 is transported in the form of hemoglobin complex, right? So carboxyhemoglobin, HbCO2. Look, carbon dioxide, one more important thing, carbon dioxide react with water in presence of carbonic anhydrase. Carbonic anhydrase is a type of enzyme. And this reaction is, it goes inside the protoplasm of RBC. Carbon dioxide makes bond with water and makes H2CO3, carbonic acid, in presence of carbonic anhydrase. Again, H2CO3 is unstable compound. It's an unstable compound. This H2CO3 again break down into bicarbonate ion and hydrogen ion. Now, hence, deoxygenated blood is more acidic than. So, what is that? This hydrogen ion decreases the pH value of the, very important. This hydrogen ion decreases the pH value of the blood, right? Means blood become more acidic. So, normal blood is the pH value 7.4, but carbon dioxide rich blood have 7.34 pH value. Hence, the deoxygenated blood have is more acidic or have less pH value, right? Clear? So the deoxygenated blood is more acidic than the oxygenated blood. Chloride shift. Now, what is the chloride shift? What happened? CO2 is coming from the tissue. Again, CO2, I have told you, reaches inside the RBC. When reaches inside the RBC, react with the water, make the carbonic acid H2CO3. I have told you H2CO3 is unstable compound. In presence of carbonic anhydrase, H2CO3 break down into HCO3, bicarbonate ion, and H plus. This H plus make bond with the hemoglobin, HHB, right? And this HCO3, it goes out of the RBC in the plasma, and in return, it takes to the chloride inside the RBC. This phenomena is called chloride shift. Tell me, is it clear or not? Chloride shift.
Sir, could you please repeat this?
Yeah, sure. Look, when tissue release, this is the transport of carbon dioxide, right? How the carbon dioxide transported in the form of bicarbonate ion. So this phenomena is called chloride shift or Hamburger phenomena, right? Look, carbon dioxide is taken inside by RBC. When carbon dioxide reaches in the protoplasm of RBC, it make bond with the water, react with the water in presence of carbonic anhydrase. It make a H2CO3 carbonic acid, H2CO3. Again, the H2CO3 is unstable compound. We have studied. H2CO3 break into bicarbonate ion and hydrogen ion in presence of carbonic anhydrase. These hydrogen ion make bond with the hemoglobin and make HB. But these carbonic ion, these bicarbonate ion, they goes outside. 70% of the bicarbonate ion, they goes outside into the blood plasma, and in return 70% of the bicarbonate goes out, and in return 70% of the chloride ion comes inside the RBC. This is called chloride shift. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So 70% of the carbon dioxide is transported like this way. Transport of CO2 as bicarbonate ion, right? So again, the carbon dioxide makes bond with the water, hemoglobin, and make HbCO2. So 7% of the CO2 is transported like this way. 100 ml of blood have 4 ml of CO2. So 7% is transported through the bicarbonate, HbCO2, and the 70% by the soluble form, and 23% by the HbCO2, right? So this is the transport of the carbon dioxide. Tell me, is it clear or not? Release of CO2. So CO2 have been transported in the form of bicarbonate ion. When this blood blood capsules reach to the lungs, how it will give carbon dioxide and take oxygen. So when this RBC reaches to the lungs or alveoli, the oxygen come inside the RBC due to, try to understand, the oxygen come inside the RBC due to partial pressure. When oxygen come out, HHB bond breaks down. So HHB bond break down. So hemoglobin gets separated from hydrogen ion. Hemoglobin makes bond with oxygen and become HbO2, oxyhemoglobin. This release hydrogen ion. When hydrogen ion will be released, the pump will again work, starting work in opposite. Chloride ion will go out and H2CO3, HCO3, bicarbonate ion will come inside. Hydrogen ion will again react with bicarbonate ion. It will make H2CO3. H2CO3 will break down into H2O and CO2. This CO2 will be released and CO2 will go to the lungs. O2 have already came. So because of O2, CO2 is released. Because of entry of the O2, CO2 is released, right? This is called Haldane effect or given by J.S. Haldane. Tell me it's clear or not, Haldane effect. What is the Haldane effect? CO2 is released because of entry of the O2. Tell me, Samaira, is it clear or not? Tanya?
Yes, so clear. Yes, sir.
Marita? Iram? Abhinav? Anna? Nimra? Is it clear or not?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Very good. These are very important, right? These both effects are Hamburger effect have been asked. And in NCRT, there is only chloride shift have been given, right? While the Hamburger effect have been asked, right? So don't get confused. Chloride shift and Hamburger effect both are the same thing, right? Even this phenomena have been asked. This phenomena, right? What is the Haldane effect? That have also been asked, right? Now come to the disorder. Okay. It's hypoxia have been asked. Occupational respiratory disease have been asked. Emphysema. These three diseases have been asked from here. So what is the hypoxia? Emphysema have been asked many times. What is the hypoxia? Oxygen shortage in tissue is called hypoxia. Anoxia. Absence of O2 in the tissue is called anoxia. Asthma. Asthma is a type of allergy where inflammation takes place in bronchi and bronchiole. It causes coughing, sneezing, mucus clog, and actually the mast cell releases the histamine, and that causes the inflammation. And this stage is called asthma. Occupational respiratory disease. These are the respiratory disease which is caused due to particular occupation, right? If a person is working in the mining, he or she have to face the someday that silicosis, right? So these are the respiratory disease which come due to occupation. So chronic exposure to silica and asbestos. So those worker which are working in the factory of asbestos and silica, like cement factory, silica factory, glass factory. So those worker and cotton factory, those worker, what happened? The proliferation of connective tissue takes place inside their lungs, right? And the disease called silicosis or asbestosis. These are called occupational respiratory disease because these disease comes due to particular occupation, due to exposure of particular pollutant. Pneumonia. Pneumonia we have already discussed in that molecular genetics. Pneumonia is caused due to infection of a bacteria called Streptococcus pneumoniae. That causes inflammation in alveoli, and this is called pneumonia. Emphysema. It is caused by cigarette smoking. What happened? This is the alveoli, and between the alveoli there are certain septa. These septa get collapsed due to cigarette smoking, and that's why the lungs capacity decreases, and this disease is called emphysema. And most of time it remains filled with the fluid. Clear? Diseases.
Yes, sir.
Nervous control, very simple. Uh, the pons, this part, pons, lowermost part, and pons and medulla. There are some breathing control center. So basically, pons and medulla are responsible for controlling the breathing. And from medulla, the nerves come out. They control our internal intercostal muscle, external intercostal muscles, and they control the diaphragm, and that's how they control the respiration. So neural control of the respiration done from the pons and medulla. That you need to remember. That's it. So go through with your NCERT and tell me if you have any doubt regarding the respiration in human. And I have already told you respiratory volumes are the most important part in the whole chapter. Go through with NCERT and let me know if you have any doubt. Come on, quick. You have next 2 minutes. Go through with your NCERT and ask me if you have any doubt. Then I will start with the new chapter. No doubt. Should we go ahead? The next chapter is body fluid and circulation. Means human circulatory system. Right? In human circulatory system or body fluid and circulation, first we have categorized the human blood or human body fluid. When we talk about the human body fluid, we talk about all the fluid which is present inside our body. So human body fluid is divided into two parts: ECF and ICF. ECF is called extracellular fluid, the fluid which is found outside of the body, like blood, lymph. ICF is intracellular fluid, like protoplasm. So in ECF, extracellular fluid, this is lymph and the blood. that you need to remember, it is rich in sodium and chloride. ECF. ICF is rich in potassium and sodium, potassium and phosphate. Blood is 30 to 35%, very important thing. Blood is 30 to 35% part of the ECF, extracellular fluid. An adult person of 70 kg will have 5.5 liter of blood with a pH value 7.4. Remember all these factual things, they are important and sometimes they are being asked. Now come to the plasma. Plasma, that question have been asked. What is the percentage of the plasma in blood? Plasma make 55% of the blood. 90 to 92%, that question, even this both question have been asked in medical examination. 90 to 92% part of the plasma is made up of water. So the question, these questions have been asked directly. What is the percentage of plasma in the blood? That was the question. What is the percentage of water in the plasma? That is also a question. Both questions have been asked directly. Mineral plus nutrient plus protein, right? They are found in plasma. 6 to 8% of protein of the plasma is albumin. Tell me a question. I have a question for you. Our blood is basic. Whatever we eat from the morning to the evening, everything is acidic. Even water is slightly acidic. Protein, amino acid, it's acidic. Sugar, acidic. Fat, acidic. So all those food which we take, milk, acidic. All those things which we eat, they are the acidic. But still the blood is our basic. Why the pH value of blood do not decreases? So how blood maintain its pH value basic? While whole day we take everything which we eat, that is the acidic. So how the blood maintain its pH value? Tell me, guys.
By albumin and globin.
Very good. Very not globin. Okay. Very good. It means you are focused on the screen. Great. Look, blood have 6 to 8. We have discussed that blood plasma have 6 to 8% protein of the plasma. There are two kinds of the protein which are found in the blood. Very important. Albumin and blood, globin, right? Albumin is that protein, the same protein which make the egg white, right? That is called albumin protein. This albumin protein maintain the pH value of the blood. It work as a buffer solution. What are the buffer solution? Buffer solutions are those solutions which opposes the change of their pH value. So in the nutshell, albumin is the white protein which is found in the blood. It is responsible for maintaining the pH value of the blood basic, in spite we eat acidic food from morning to evening. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Blood have lysozyme, means blood plasma have lysozyme and properdin. They maintain the immunity of the blood. Heparin is a hormone which is found inside the blood, right? Heparin, please try to understand. Heparin is a hormone which is found in the blood. It is anti-clotting or anticoagulant, means heparin remains heparin remains dissolved with the blood. It do not allow the blood to clot inside the body. It maintain the blood in the liquid form, right? When blood come out of the body in contact with oxygen, this heparin stop working and blood clotting takes place, right? What is the serum? Even this question have been asked many times. What is the serum? So you will get the question. Serum is blood plasma without clotting factor. Now, part of the blood. Look, for example, we have kept a blood in the in a open tumbler or open glass. What will happen in the 6 to 7 minutes, maximum in 20 minutes, if this is a normal person? in 6 to 7 minutes normally, maximum 20%, the blood will change its form. Solid part will get separated from the liquid part, right? This solid part is called blood clot. It is made 45%. It is made up of RBC, WBC, platelet, thrombin protein, and fibrin protein, right? Blood plasma. It is light yellow color part structure. 55% of the 55% of the part of the blood is made up of blood plasma. And that question I've been asked, I have already told you. Blood plasma is made up of hormone, 90 to 92% of water. We have discussed that question I've been asked. Carbohydrate, protein, fat, and mineral. And what about the blood clot? Blood clot is made up of RBC, WBC, platelets, thrombin protein, and fibrin protein. Thrombin and fibrin protein are basically fibrous protein. They make the clot of the blood, right? Go through with it and ask me if you have any doubt. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, what is the RBC, WBC, and platelets? So, RBC, the full form of RBC is RBC, red blood capsules, or technically they are also known as the erythrocytes. Why we do not call them? It is wrong to call them red blood cell. Why we do not call them cell? Rather than calling cell, we call them capsules. Why? What is the reason behind it?
They don't have nucleus.
Very good. And even they don't have required cell organelle, endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, and all that. They don't have all that. And that's why we do not give them the status of cell. Very good. So that's why we call them, it is the correct pronunciation is red blood capsules, then red blood cells. So look, no nucleus and no cell organ. Their numbers are 4.5 to 5 million per mm³, means 4.5 in female and 5 in male, right? In every ml of the blood. Abnormal increase of the RBC, if their number increases abnormally, it is called polycythemia. That's question have been asked. What is the polycythemia? So abnormal rise of RBC is called polycythemia. Abnormal decrease of RBC is called erythrocytopenia. Their size is 7 to 8 micrometer. Hemoglobin is made up of globin protein, you know. 100 ml of 100 ml of blood have 12 to 16 ml of hemoglobin. Generally, we see in the blood report. Formation of RBC is called erythropoiesis. Lifespan of RBC is 120 days. After the death, RBC reaches to the spleen and they are broken down. That's why spleen is called graveyard of RBC. Extra blood is also stored in the spleen. So remember, guys, spleen is also known as the blood bank, right? The position of spleen I have explained you when I was telling you the digestive system. You have seen. So that spleen is called graveyard of the RBC because all the RBC after the death reaches to the spleen for breaking down, and it is called blood bank because extra RBC are stored over here, and the deficiency of the blood is called anemia. Tell me, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
WBC. This PPT is very, very important. I have made it by my own hand. The reason behind it, it have covered all the questions which can be asked in your medical examination. So don't take it for granted. Learn it by your heart. Look, the WBC, they are called white blood corpuscles. They may be of different type. Look, monocyte, lymphocyte, eosinophil, basophil, neutrophils, right? Their shape is not fixed and they are of amoeboid shape. What is the benefit of it that they do not have fixed shape? They can come out of the blood capillary from the creeks of the blood capillary, space between the tissues, right? They can come out and they can fight with the germs outside of the blood capillaries as well. That is the benefit of this. Their number is 6,000 to 8,000 per millimeter cubic, right? This question I have been asked, what is the ratio of WBC and RBC? So the ratio of WBC and RBC is 1:600. That you need to remember. Ratio of WBC and RBC is 1:600. A rise of the WBC is called leukocytosis, right? Abnormal increase of WBC is called leukemia. Leukemia means blood cancer. Abnormal increase of WBC is called leukemia, and this is called blood cancer, right? Clear? That is the abnormal rise of the WBC. Is called leukemia, and leukemia means blood cancer, right? What is the blood cancer? Actually, the WBC increases abnormally, and they start eating their own cells, right? Autophagy, that's so. That is the blood cancer. Normally, the WBC should be 6,000 to 8,000, but when we are diseased, like we are not fit, we are sick. So there may be the number of WBC 12,000, 15,000, 16,000, but not that much more than 20,000, right? If someone have 25,000, 30,000 WBC, it means there is something bad, right? So their size may be 10 to 12, 20 micrometer. Nucleus and cell organelle are present, right? So this is all about the WBC. In next class, I will tell you the type of the WBC and all. But so we will start studying WBC, right? So that's it for the day, because now we are running short with them. So everything clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
guys. So see you in the next class, and we'll start from here onward. Please remember that we have started the WBC. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you,
Bye
sir.
bye. Take care.